The documentary, released on Netflix on October 10th, 2025, opens a window into a nightmare I never knew I was living. It tells the story of my father, Dennis Rader, a man I loved and trusted, who was secretly the BTK killer. He was a pillar of our community in Wichita, Kansas, a church president, a dedicated Boy Scout leader, and a seemingly ordinary family man. But behind that carefully constructed facade lurked a monster responsible for the horrific murders of 10 innocent people between 1974 and 1991. This film is not just about his crimes, it is about the profound and devastating impact of his deception on those closest to him, told through my eyes. My world was irrevocably shattered on February 25, 2005. I was a 26-year-old newlywed, living my life hundreds of miles away when an FBI agent knocked on my door. The words he spoke felt like a physical blow, an impossible truth that my mind struggled to accept. My father, the man who taught me how to fish and camp, was under arrest. He was the BTK killer, a name that had haunted the city of my childhood for decades. The documentary uses archival footage and family photos to show the stark contrast between the loving father I knew and the cold-blooded predator he truly was, forcing viewers to confront the terrifying reality of his double life. The film, directed by Skye Borgman, delves deep into the psychological chasm that opened beneath my feet. It explores my immediate reaction of shock, denial, and overwhelming grief. How could the man who tucked me in at night be capable of such unspeakable evil? The narrative follows my journey as I was forced to re-examine every single memory, every shared moment, searching for clues I might have missed. It was a painful process of dissecting a life I thought I knew, only to find it was built on a foundation of lies. The documentary captures this disorientation, this complete loss of identity, as I grappled with the fact that my entire childhood was a lie. This story is a chilling reminder that evil can wear the most familiar of faces. Dennis Rader's moniker, BTK, stood for bind, torture, kill, a brutal signature that he himself created to taunt the police and media. For 30 years, he remained a ghost, a phantom who terrorized a community while hiding in plain sight. The documentary explains how his own ego led to his downfall. In 2005, he sent a floppy disk to a local news station, believing it was untraceable. He was wrong. The metadata on that disk led investigators directly to his church and ultimately to him. My DNA was then used to confirm his identity, forever linking me to his heinous legacy. After the arrest, my life became a public spectacle. The name Rawson was suddenly synonymous with the name Rader, and by extension, BTK. The documentary shows the intense media scrutiny my family and I faced. Reporters camped outside our homes, and our private grief became front-page news. I had to learn to navigate a world where I was no longer just Kerry. I was the daughter of a notorious serial killer. This label followed me everywhere, coloring every interaction and casting a long, dark shadow over my future. The film uses news clips from that time to illustrate the chaotic and overwhelming nature of being thrust into a global spotlight against my will. The emotional toll on my family was catastrophic. My mother, who had been married to my father for 34 years, was left to pick up the pieces of a shattered life. My brother and I had to reconcile our love for our father with the monstrous truth of his actions. The documentary sensitively explores this complex family dynamic, showing how we each tried to cope with the trauma in our own ways. We were victims too, not of his physical violence, but of his profound psychological manipulation. Our family was destroyed, our sense of safety obliterated, and we were left to grieve not only the lives he took, but also the man we thought we knew. My role in the investigation, though indirect, was a heavy burden to bear. As the film details, providing a DNA sample was a critical step in confirming my father's guilt. While it was necessary to ensure justice for his victims, it was also a deeply personal and painful act. It felt like a betrayal of the father I once loved, yet it was a duty I had to fulfill. Later, as shown in the documentary, I would assist investigators in trying to link him to other cold cases, a process that required me to delve deeper into his darkness. Each new piece of information was another layer of horror, another wound inflicted upon my already fragile psyche. The documentary highlights the long-term psychological effects of this trauma, including the night terrors I experienced as a child, which I now see in a terrifying new light. Were they just bad dreams, or was my subconscious trying to warn me of the evil that lived under my own roof? The film features a particularly disturbing discovery: a notebook entry. My father wrote about a bondage game involving me. This revelation, explored in the documentary, opened up a new dimension of fear and uncertainty about my own safety during my childhood. It forced me to confront the possibility that I was not just a witness to his darkness, but a potential target. For nearly 2 decades, I communicated with my father only through letters, a painful correspondence that often left me with more questions than answers. The documentary builds towards a pivotal and emotionally charged moment: my decision to face him in person. In 2023, I visited him in prison for the first time since his arrest. I needed to look him in the eye and demand the truth, not for his sake, but for mine and for the other families he may have destroyed. The film's crew captured the raw tension of this meeting, a daughter confronting the monster who was once her hero, seeking closure in the most hostile of environments. The prison visit, a central focus of the documentary, was a harrowing experience. I went there armed with questions about other potential victims and the disturbing notebook entry about me. I hoped that seeing me, his daughter, might provoke a flicker of remorse or a sliver of truth. Instead, I was met with the same cold, manipulative man who had deceived everyone for so long. He refused to provide any real answers, deflecting and denying, proving that the man I knew as Dad was truly gone, replaced entirely by the remorseless killer BTK. The exchange was heated, and it became painfully clear that he was incapable of genuine empathy or confession. This confrontation was a turning point for me. It was the moment I fully understood that I would never get the closure I sought from him. He would never give me the truth, and he would never express the remorse that his victims' families and my own so desperately deserved. As the documentary shows, leaving that prison was both heartbreaking and liberating. It was the end of a long, painful chapter. I had faced the abyss, looked directly into the eyes of evil, and I had survived. It was a final, painful goodbye to the ghost of the father I once loved, and a definitive rejection of the monster he had become. Following that visit, I made the difficult decision to cease all contact with him. Continuing a relationship, even through letters, felt like a betrayal of his victims and of myself. It was an act of self-preservation, a necessary step to reclaim my own life from the darkness of his crimes. The documentary frames this decision not as an act of anger, but as one of strength and finality. It is my declaration that his story will no longer define mine. I am choosing to step out of his shadow and dedicate my energy to honoring the victims and helping others who have been impacted by trauma. Is more than just another true crime story. It is a platform for a different kind of narrative. While many documentaries focus solely on the killer, this film, through its intimate interviews and personal archives, gives a voice to the forgotten victims, the families of the perpetrators. It shines a light on the collateral damage of such heinous crimes, exploring the complex grief and inherited trauma that families like mine endure. By sharing my story, I hope to foster a greater understanding and empathy for those who are left to grapple with the monstrous actions of a loved one living with a stigma they did not choose. The film makes it clear that this documentary, along with my 2019 memoir, represents my final public words on my father's crimes. It is my attempt to set the record straight and to close this chapter of my life on my own terms. However, my work is not done. As shown in the documentary, I remain committed to helping law enforcement investigate potential additional victims before my father dies in prison. It is a moral obligation I feel to the families who may still be waiting for answers. My advocacy is my way of creating something positive from a legacy of absolute horror, to ensure that no victim is forgotten. The documentary's style, blending raw interviews with me, law enforcement officials and journalists alongside chilling archival materials like my father's own sketches and interrogation tapes, creates a powerful and immersive experience. It doesn't just tell you what happened, it makes you feel the weight of it. It forces the audience to consider the uncomfortable reality that monsters are not mythical creatures. They are people who live among us, hiding behind masks of normalcy. The film serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the importance of vigilance and the profound courage it takes to confront an unbearable truth. Ultimately, this story matters today because it is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. It is about finding a path forward in the wake of unimaginable trauma. While the name BTK will forever be a part of my history, I refuse to let it be my entire identity. This documentary is my final act of reclaiming my narrative, of stepping out of the shadow of Dennis Rader and into the light as Kerry Rawson. It is a story of survival, a search for peace, and a promise to honor the victims by dedicating my life to advocacy and healing, ensuring that their memories are never overshadowed by the man who took their lives.